And here comes an episode 7. In traditional episode 70 form, the initiative dumps a bunch of plot on us, igniting the arc of the season, finally revealing who those soldier dudes were, and perhaps making a misstep or two. The initiative opens with Riley and his friend Forrest sitting in the dorm cafeteria. Forrest is anxious to engage in an objectify-a-thon, but Riley, to his credit, is unwilling to join.
Check her out. Is she hot or is she hot?
She's Buffy.
And somewhere in a far-off prison cell, a very thirsty Spike awakens to find he's been trapped in a cage. He's being fed drugged blood and held with other monsters. Spike incorrectly blames the Slayer, and in their own metaphorical cages, Xander and Giles are discussing the men in camouflage that have been popping up in the past few episodes.
Once again, I'd say that you and I will not be needed to help Buffy.
In class, Willow discovers that Oz has formally dropped out of school, and she continues to sink into depression. Ms. Walsh somehow manages to make it about Ms. Walsh. Buffy gives her hell for it, and Walsh appreciates it.
I like her.
Really? You don't think she's a little peculiar?
Later, Riley is relating the story of it to Forrest, and Forrest asks Parker for the lowdown on Buffy. I take several things from this scene. First of all, hell yeah, Riley. Second of all, it's telling that Forrest and Parker are friends. Third, I think Parker's toilet seat comment is the nail in the coffin for any Parker apologists. Unless you try and make the it's just locker room talk defense, in which case, gross. Riley accepts his interest in Buffy and goes to pick her best friend's brain about how to win her over. Willow's depression has sapped her typically manic energy levels, but she very calmly and distrustfully tests Riley's veracity. After a best friend cross-examination, she gives Riley the hot tip.
She likes cheese.
Spike plays dead to escape the prison, beats up some scientists, and finds his freedom. And the first place he decides to visit is...
Spike, is that really you?
It's me, baby.
Spike and Harmony have such great chemistry, and I love how his terms of endearment in this scene degrade over the course of it.
My little mentholated pack of smokes.
Buffy drags Willow to Riley's house party in an attempt to keep her spirits up. Willow, now with purpose, provides Riley a wingman.
Okay, she's wearing the halter top with sensible shoes. That means mostly dancing light contact, but don't push your luck. Heavy conversations out of the question.
I don't think I've ever personally captured this much detail about a man-friend's outfit. Riley makes a first attempt to strike up a conversation with Buffy, but forgets the flint.
Cheese?
On the couch, commiserating over his failed attempt with Willow, a Dingoes Ate My Baby song comes on the radio. Again, Riley shows great heart and gets the song immediately killed. I really like him in this episode. Willow jets from the party and suggests Riley go tell Buffy, as it will give them something to talk about. While out on patrol, Xander stumbles on a distraught Harmony, who is trying to start an ex-boyfriend effigy. They engage in a furious battle of Mortal Kombat before Harmony reveals that Spike is back. Riley and company open a hidden panel to his secret elevator and descend into a massive underground military facility. Turns out they were the soldiers in camouflage. Alright, so I actually hadn't figured that out by this episode. Namely because Forrest and Riley's entourage of bros didn't exist before this episode. And you remember when Miss Walsh was telling Riley the story about the big dog in class, and then told Buffy, if they were both super secret military soldier types, wouldn't she have told them that story in private and used the term werewolf? Just saying. Riley's team is tasked with returning Hostile 17, Spike. Strike Team Riley stumbles on Buffy, also out hunting for Spike, and the two of them perform the dance of alter egos. While back at the dorm, Willow hears a knock and invites the guest in. I found this whole sequence genuinely disturbing. Spike's violent hand over Willow's mouth, the loud music to drown out the violence, her deadened scream on the bed. Given that vampires are a sexual metaphor as is, the sexual assault vibes in this brief scene are sickening. The first time I watched it, I was honestly wondering if something horrifying was about to happen. And then...
Doesn't this happen to every vampire?
Not to me, it doesn't.
And for the second time this episode, a grieving Willow is put in the position of consoling men for their failures. Riley's swing and a miss with Buffy, and Spike's vampire flaccidity. It seems whenever Spike attacks now, he gets a violent electric shock in his head. Strike Team Riley break into the dorm, 100-pound Willow knocks over 3 of them, they try and capture Willow to follow containment policy, and Buffy has other ideas.
Contain this.
Watching Buffy beat the hell out of 3 Brolgers is insanely satisfying. The next day, Riley catches up with Buffy in the courtyard, and the hints of a bond appear.
You're a little peculiar.
I can live with that.
Plotsplosion episodes like this tend to get the arc rolling, but there isn't a ton to say about it until we begin to get closer to the destination. Other than the episode's aesthetics, that is, this episode continues with what has made Season 4 so strong to this point, while also introducing its greatest shortcoming. The show's comedy, as well as the dynamics between the Scoobies, are firing on all cylinders. This may be the funniest season of the show already, and we still have two of the funniest episodes in the series coming. Xander's slap fight with Harmony is a memorable moment in the entire series, as is Spike and Willow consoling each other over their insecurities.
It's me, isn't it?
I'd bite you in a heartbeat.
Really?
And yet, the comedy this season doesn't feel dissonant when things like Wild at Heart happen. These are still our Scoobies, smart, funny, and capable of deep desire and despair. It's one of the things that the show has always been best at, even with the villains. Intimacy. But then there's the Initiative, the military group, not the episode's title. I can't say too much yet, and I'm leery of dumping on an aspect of the season that some people might find themselves enjoying. But the wide pan around the chasm-like interior of their operation is a statement that the show is going to try something very different this season. I'll just say that in this first reveal of it, I was having flashbacks. The episode does have a few details to pay attention to. Notice the parody between Willow's scenes with Riley and Spike. While they are tonally different, the comparisons are too much to ignore. Both come to her dorm room about Buffy. Both end up failing at their endeavors. Both end up looking to her for solace, and both end up consoling her as well. You may be wondering if Spike now feels pain whenever he attacks a human. How did he escape by beating up those Initiative scientists? While there are plenty of ways to headcanon this, it is actually an acknowledged mistake by Joss Whedon. In a post from the online forum The Bronze, he called it one of the great foul-ups in Buffy history. To quote, "When I saw the show cut together, I went ballistic. Spike was hitting everybody. In the Initiative, in the dorm hall, it was insane. We couldn't reshoot most of it, so we edited it so that all he did was throw people, not punch them." In any case, the Initiative is still an enjoyable episode for all the reasons I've mentioned. Season 4 was a tumultuous one, both thematically and on set. And while we'll cover the season's stumbles, rest assured there are always going to be great reasons to keep watching.